Christy! The moment has come. You're sitting next to a 5-time gold medalist. You know, when I said that to Harold this morning, Harold was like wanted to guess, right? You know, he was rattling off all these sports people and that sort of stuff. And then the minute I said culinary, he said, "That's a sport?"
Food
Corey,
in my house is a sport,
yeah,
so I don't know about it.
I got you. I got you. So contain yourself, will you please?
I will try.
Okay. Corey Siegel. I don't know what else to say, buddy. Corey, thank you for being on the show, my friend. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Corey is somebody that was referred to me by a good friend of mine, and I'll let you give him the shout out in a minute, Corey. You know, for him. But he asked Corey to come and talk to me. He was thinking about opening up a restaurant, and Corey and I probably spoke for about 30 minutes or so. And after Corey realized I didn't want him to do it, and I had shattered his dream, right, of opening up a restaurant, he realized I did not shatter the dream. I tell people this often. Some of the best advice I can give you is no, don't do it.
Right.
Wait until the time is right, or the position is right, or the location is right. So I bring that up because somebody as skilled and as seasoned as Corey still is looking for help and advice, and I think that's why I admire him the most. And I've only met him for about 4 or 5 hours, but he spent all day with me. We went to dinner together, and now he's like one of my new friends, whether he likes it or not. Corey, thank you so much, buddy, for coming on the show, my friend.
I'm excited.
So Corey, tell people a little bit. I don't know how to start because you're such a young guy, but you've got like these different lives, right? So instead of talking about the business that you're in and how you and I met, talk just a little bit about your 5-time international gold medals. There's people that just are intrigued with that, right? So take that in any direction you want to go, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people don't know that when they ask me what do I do, and I talk to them and tell them I'm on the U.S. Culinary Olympic team, or I competed in the Bocuse d'Or, and it's like the Culinary Olympics of, it's like the Olympics of cooking.
Yeah.
And they're like, so you know Michael Phelps, or you like cooked for the basketball team, and it's a series of these conversations about where my passion just starts pouring out about, no, actually every 4 years there's these circuits of competitions, the Bocuse d'Or in Lyon, France, the World Cup in Luxembourg, the Culinary Olympics in Germany, and you have anywhere from 24 to 36 different countries competing for that world title. And you kind of look at it and go, oh, we're the U.S., we're going to go in, we're going to take this, we're so great when we look at the sports side. But you're really going in as competing against the top 24 countries in the world, where it's not, oh, these top 3 are kind of fighting for that top title. It's any given Sunday, and it's not always about who has the best program. It's about how you cook on that day under any adversity that's thrown at you.
Wow.
Which is such a crazy ride, and it's all about working. I mean, for these competitions, over the last 8 to 12 years, it's been about 2 years getting ready for each competition. So for the Bocuse d'Or specifically, I was working at the Greenbrier, and I had a great mentor, Richard Rosendale. I still have a great mentor, Richard Rosendale. And we actually ripped apart the entire kitchen in the bunker of the Greenbrier. This was a bomb shelter, and we ripped out the whole kitchen to put an exact replica of the kitchen we were going to compete in Lyon, France. So when we went over there to compete, it was just another practice run for us. Everything actually went better over there for us because we were so comfortable. And you think of all these different challenges that could have come up. And if we would have got there and went to plug in a U.S. standard outlet and we had European power, that would have taken us for a ride.
Corey, talk a little bit about that prep, right? Because I don't know how this works. How often did you go down to that kitchen that you guys had set up and practice? How does that work? And did you know what you were going to be making well in advance?
It's a non-stop venture. You set this goal to compete on the world stage like this, and you're given a very basic set of rules that says you need to do a meat dish, you need to do a fish dish, or for the Culinary Olympics, it was a 3-course meal of 120 portions, plus an entire cold display with chocolate and sugar showpieces, petit fours, finger foods. So we're given a
chocolate and sugar display. Hear that, Christy?
But do you hear all the moving parts? I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many moving parts to this that you don't. Unlike a lot of things where it's like, okay, this is what your playbook is. You don't know what your playbook is. You have to factor in every play imaginable and unimaginable to be prepared for that day.
Absolutely. And looking at, let's say, some of the Scandinavian countries that perform very well in these competitions, they're a 6-hour drive over to the competition site. We need to pack up an entire boat worth of equipment,
Wow.
ship it over, go over. So when we competed in France, to give a specific example, we went over there 3 months ahead of time, over to Lyon, and we set up a storage unit, and we had everything that we needed. We tested the cream, the butter, the eggs, and we went through all of these practices, so then when we got there again, we were more comfortable. But again, that all those logistics that go into getting from the U.S. all the way over to France, Luxembourg, or Germany, when they can just drive there.
Let me be clear. You might be bad. You might have a few of those gold trinkets behind you. You understand? But I make the best chicken fingers in all the Villes. I want to be clear about this.
That's what I've heard.
I think we need a competition because I'm not so sure about
You
that.
just want to see him cooking. That's a Corey, thank you so much for coming, buddy. We met because a friend of mine asked me to sit down and talk with you because as skilled as you are in the area of food service and hospitality, you're also extremely wise to know that you are considering opening up a secondary business of some sort with somebody else, and you kind of wanted to make sure that you were on the right track and you were moving in the right direction. And so your buddy told you to contact me, and that's how we met. And probably in about 30 minutes or so, I told you I didn't think it was, or it made me uncomfortable.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that, because I could see it in your eyes. You're like, daggone it, man. You know what I mean? I didn't see you questioning me. I saw you questioning some of the research you had done and the due diligence that you had done. And I was going to ask you, are you moving forward anyways, no matter what I said? Or talk a little bit about that, because I admire you, not because you either listened to my advice or you didn't, but you even asked. And so talk a little bit about that.
Right. Well, Joe, I think you bring up such a great point that it's the idea sometimes. And one of my favorite icons of all time is Muhammad Ali. And he said, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And I love that. And one piece of advice I always give to culinary students when I talk to them is dream. Think of the biggest thing you possibly can. Set goals. What is your 6-month goal, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year goals? And 10-year goal is completely going to change. If you asked me when I was in culinary school at the Culinary Institute of America what I was going to do, it was, I want to be the best chef in the world. I want to take the Master Chef exam. It had nothing to do with the business side. It had nothing to do with competing. And I had a great mentor that kind of pushed me on the route of competing, and I started losing. And I was like, man, he's telling me I'm great, but I'm losing. And people look sometimes say, oh, he has a lot of gold medals. Like, it's amazing. They look at the show, they look at the event, and I always point them into the process of, I have more certificates, bronze, silvers than I do. I have a lot of T-shirts and water bottles that say, hey, thanks for coming. And all those things kind of trajected to this goal. And back to your question of seeking that advice. I encourage people to dream big, go for these massive goals, but you need to have some kind of heading. And everything is going to continue to change as you get closer and closer to your goals. And my goal of being a certified master chef actually kind of got pushed aside because all of my focus went into the Culinary Olympics. And since I was 15 years old, Scott Steiner, one of my early mentors, said, I want you to do this and be the youngest ever. I said, all right, what do I have to do? And after that, I went to the Culinary Institute of America, met some great guys like Joe Albertelli and Ed Leonard. They said, if you're serious about this, you need to go to the Greenbrier in West Virginia. Same day I graduated, moved down to the Greenbrier.
All right, I'm on my way.
And you just kind of have to keep going. And I got pushed on this path to go to the Greenbrier to get to the Culinary Olympics. And while I was at the Greenbrier, my mentor, Richard Rosendale, asked me if I would want to compete in the Bocuse d'Or with him. I said, sure. I have no idea what this means, but I'm in. Like, how cool is this? I get to compete with my mentor. And that training allowed me to fulfill that goal of being on the Culinary Olympics as the youngest ever. Now,
let me stop you there, because what's happening here is you've got these different lives, right? And what's also happening, all of those life experiences are coming together, and that is what us small business people find ourselves doing, right?
Right.
Let's take a break, because there's a whole nother life that we haven't even talked about, which is what your current primary job is now. I want people to know that cooking and culinary is no longer just about making sandwiches and hamburgers. There's a whole new world out there. And so let's talk about that, and then we'll bring it all together again on how you're planning and working towards opening up some type of a business of some sort. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and we are talking with a 5-time international gold medalist, Corey Siegel. And I am here with the delectable, delightful, delicious, darling, something with a D, Christy Radcliffe of Christy Radcliffe Coaching. If it's Friday morning, your business matters. We'll be right back. And we are back. This is Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and I am here with Christy Radcliffe of ChristyRadcliffeCoaching.com. And I'm talking with, whether he admits it or not, I'm probably his best friend, Christy. That's probably Corey Siegel, 5-time international gold medalist. Before we move on to what you're currently doing, Corey, you had mentioned something to me at the break that I thought you were going to get mad at me and tell me I told you not to open that restaurant up, and you're going to ignore my advice. But you sent it in a different direction. Talk a little bit about that, because it's about goal setting and changing and moving, and I liked it a lot.
Joe, so after I was done with the Culinary Olympics, I'm constantly looking for what's next, and I just try and keep moving in some kind of direction. And my goal after this then became, well, I need to open some kind of restaurant. I need to keep moving, and I had these jitters. And I came to you for some advice about, hey, here's my idea. What do you think of it? And you said, it makes me uncomfortable. You said, we were joking about Shark Tank, and you said, I'm out. For this reason, I'm out. It makes me uncomfortable. And you said, this may not be what you want to hear. I hope you're not shattered. I said, no. I don't really know how to process it yet, but I appreciate that you're giving me this advice, because you just saved me millions of dollars in debt. Right. So my takeaway from that was, a couple days later, I started thinking, well, if this restaurant isn't really the best idea for me, what is? And how we talked about that Certified Master Chef exam earlier in the conversation, that's now back on my radar. So there's an exam sometime late fall next year that I'm starting to study that for, and it's an 8-day cooking exam, and there's only 72 Certified Master Chefs in the country. And my goal,
there's going to be 73, Christy.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And I'm going to do everything it takes to hopefully get that. And you may fail once, but you have to keep that goal on the radar. And that's my new trajectory.
Corey, I'm curious, because I don't talk to a lot of people a second time when I tell them not to do something, right? so the fact that you're even here, when I said what I said, I was uncomfortable. Did you just take it for face value? Okay, Joe knows, or did you go back and then run some more numbers yourself and realize maybe there's a few things I didn't consider? I mean, how did that end in your mind, right?
Absolutely. Joe, you remember my notebook there. I took 5 pages of notes, and everything you asked me, you said, what are the average numbers that restaurant does in an area?
Right.
I don't know. Well, how many covers do they do a night? I don't know.
Right.
What is this? I don't know. And to go back and look at that information, start processing, said, hey, Joe was right. That area is not doing the numbers I think it's going to do to cover the rent. And so as chefs, we get this idea of our personality and growing and growing our brand, but sometimes you have to look at the reality of the numbers of, is this business concept going to make sense?
Christy, I don't know if you heard that or not, but a 5-time international gold medalist said, Joe is right.
Yes, he did. But here's what I heard. Here's what I also heard. I love, we as business owners, we have an art. We bring our art to the world, but there's also a business side to it. And it is as important for that artist to see the backside of the business to make it successful. Not everybody's an American Idol and they've got, all that. This is what Corey is doing. He has taken that advice and he is taking his life to the next level. That is huge.
Corey, we've got less than 30 seconds. What would you tell somebody that would love to do some of the stuff you've done? What would you like to tell them?
I would say follow your dreams is the easy part, but do whatever it takes to accomplish that. And you're going to have obstacles that stand in your way every second you can, every chance you get. There's going to be adversities, and just tackle it, go full speed ahead, find a mentor, reach out for help, and just go for it. Follow it.
Okay, Corey, we didn't even get to talk about what I wanted to talk about, which is your primary business, so we're going to do that again.
Awesome.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and if it's Friday morning, your business matters.